Welcome to the Google Plus Hangout from River Island. My name is Peter Fitzgerald from Google. I also head up Innovation and Digital at the Fashion Council, the British Fashion Council, and I'm going to be the moderator for this panel. And we're going to be looking back at what's been going on in London Fashion Week, especially with the intersection of fashion and tech. And I'm just really delighted to have such a great panel with us today. So I just want to introduce them, and then we'll just jump into the questions. So first we have Josie Roscott from River Island. And we have Jean-Pierre Braganza, wonderful fashion designer. We have Stephen Whelan, who's joining us from Hangout, who's produced the Google Cardboard app we'll be talking about at White Lodge. We have Jeremy White, Wired product editor. We have Matt Warman, head of technology at at the Telegraph, excuse me. And we're just going to jump right in with you, Josie. So if you could just describe to everyone what you've been experimenting with virtual reality and cardboard and how it came about with the wonderful design from Jean-Pierre. If you could just...
Of course. So at River Island, we have an initiative called Design Forum, which is where we work with different external designers each season. And this season, we chose to work with Jean-Pierre Braganza. And he had a great idea for a collection, which I'll let him talk to you about. But there was a print within his collection, which is a kingfisher and a motorcycle. And we were really inspired by the way that this print looked, and it really felt like it lent itself to a film that would be computer generated. So we always showcase Design Forum at Fashion Week through film. So we started to talk to Jean-Pierre about what kind of film would we like to showcase at Fashion Week to get people excited about his collection. And we started to work with Stephen Whelan at White Lodge on an animated film that took the kingfisher and the motorcycle parts into a different world. And at that point, Stephen said to us, you know what, we can take this computer generation into virtual reality and through to Google Cardboard, so that when it comes to Fashion Week, consumers can experience this world on their phones and for it to be a 360 virtual reality experience. So when I first heard this, it didn't really make a lot of sense to me. But once we started to look at what that meant, it means that you can put your phone in the Google Cardboard device and you can experience the wonder of the film very close, and it feels like you're really in a world. We debuted this at Fashion Week on Monday, and we wanted our consumers to be able to experience what the press often only can experience at London Fashion Week, and through Google Cardboard we've been able to do that. So everyone that buys the Jean-Pierre Braganza collection this week receives a Google Cardboard headset so that they can then experience his world in virtual reality.
Brilliant. Wow, very exciting, and the reaction has been...
The reaction's been really positive, and I think that when you describe it to someone without being able to show it, it's quite hard. So the minute you actually have press and consumers in front of you and you say, here, take your phone, download this app, put it into the cardboard device, and you can see and experience the technology, it's very surprising. I was quite surprised at how high quality and how much the experience really draws you in through your phone. You know, it was quite new for me to realize that your phone could do this. So I think that I think we're the first fashion brand to take the cardboard technology and create a piece of content to get people excited about a collection. And I'm sure that it will, many brands will do things like this in the future, because for me it feels like a very engaging and exciting way to experience product.
That's brilliant. And Jean-Pierre, what inspired you in your collection for the kingfisher, etc.?
Well, I'm a science fiction buff. I grew up watching science fiction movies and reading the great books. So when I start with the collection, I usually create a universe and characters that play with each other within that universe. And when River Island approached me, I thought it was just an amazing opportunity to really engage aspirational audience, young ladies that aspire to engage a brand like mine, and really design for that young, cool rocker girl. In the prints, and I guess in the silhouettes and the nature of the garments, she is a biker chick, if you will. I really geeked out with the nature of the engine and the beauty of that engineering. You know, they're like fins, cooling fins, which distributes heat and rapidly like cools down. Such an intense engineering feat in like machinery. I just dove deep into that in the print. And there was one moment in Goa, I was weaving through the back streets in this beautiful utopian setting, and it was quite intense, and it was a marginal experience, and lo and behold, right next to me, there was a kingfisher very serenely flying right next to me, and it caught my eye. It really like chatted to me at one point. So it was that moment in time where I just felt the need to create this like hybrid creature of a kingfisher and a motorcycle, and the beauty and really this, find it quite a sexual piece of machinery, the engine itself. So the kingfisher and this bird, you know, merge as one in the visuals of the print. So that's how I started it.
Wow, that's an amazing story.
Yeah,
it's like
fun.
all that chaos around you, and you see this beautiful bird.
It was a moment. It was really, yeah, it was captured in time. It was great.
That's brilliant. Wow. And Stephen, if you don't mind, I'll just bring you in from the Hangout. I mean, what was it like creating this virtual reality experience on cardboard?
From a creative point of view, it was a really interesting challenge and opportunity. We've been really fortunate that we've been working with River Island Design Forum collections for several years now, and up to this point we've primarily created films in collaboration with the designers. And as challenging as that process is, we sort of thought that this would be a great opportunity to bring in this new piece of technology and really see where we could push the concept that Jean-Pierre had for his collection. When it comes to shooting film, we've been working, have a very clear communication process about how that film is generated, from the initial conversation with the designer about their inspiration through to marrying a director with that designer to bring that vision to life. But when it came to creating this experience with cardboard, we really didn't have a precedent. It's not something either side had done before, but we just felt that given the ease of access of the that it is such a democratic piece of technology, it's so freely available through the internet, and obviously River Island are promoting it alongside the collection, that we just thought this was a great way to marry a really exciting collection with River Island's really progressive approach to promoting fashion film within London Fashion Week with the British Fashion Council. So I suppose, I guess, the unfamiliarity of the project was part of what was really interesting to us. And also this sort of interactive multi-platform content is such a new area for fashion brands to be exploring. So this idea of making something that was not only impressive from a technology point of view, but really engaging for consumers. We wanted to find a way of creating an experience that would really marry the excitement of Jean-Pierre's collection with this idea that sometimes Fashion Week can be a little bit insider-outsider. And River Island's Design Forum collections and the fashion film event really is about bringing consumers within the Fashion Week and allowing them to take part in a way that's meaningful and share their experience socially. So from that point of view, Google Cardboard was just the perfect tool for us to bring that audience with us.
That's really exciting about the accessibility and widening the reach. And how do you see the future of virtual reality playing out? Like, what excites you about it? What do you think we're going to be seeing more of?
I think the exciting thing from our point of view really was having to push the boundaries of what's currently capable with the graphics processing on phones, mobile phone operating systems, without getting too geeky. And we were very fortunate to be working with a fantastic interactive team at Happy Finish, who did most of the complicated things involving rendering and game engines that I won't pretend to fully understand. But I think this sort of really collaborative approach is something that's very interesting. It means that we can have the fashion expertise of River Island and their incredible curation of design talent like Jean-Pierre, and then bring on board technological partners and the opportunities that Google's vision with things like cardboard offer us, and really push boundaries. I mean, I'm always sort of a bit reluctant to try and predict where the future's going, so I think for the time being it's more exciting just to be a part of trying to figure out what the opportunities are, perhaps, than trying to define it.
That makes sense. And Matt, I mean, you've followed this and studied it closely. I mean, there's been a lot in gaming with virtual reality. Why do you think now there's been a lot more innovation or trialing or experimentation in this area?
Well, virtual reality has been around for decades, but this now is the first time the phone in your pocket, the computer in your pocket, can be used in such a way that you can turn it into the virtual reality headset that used to cost thousands and thousands of pounds. And so in a way, I think this sort of thing is, we're going to see a lot more really creative uses for mobile phones and really creative ways of putting the technology that we have with us into new sort of forms and new functions. And if you think about what the Google Cardboard thing is, it really is simply a very inexpensive piece of cardboard and some plastic lenses. There's not a lot to the technology of this. It's just about reconfiguring the device that you've already got. So I think, as I say, we're going to see a lot more of it, and we're seeing it now because all of a sudden it's affordable, and that's really exciting, because it's when stuff gets cheap that it is possible for people to really take it and play with it and innovate with it.
I see. So really, the mobile phone right now is where you see this really opening up the experience to so many more people, and you'll have more and more opportunities to use that to have a more rich, I guess, immersive experience.
Exactly. The mobile, there's all sorts of cheesy statistics, like the mobile phone in your pocket has got more computing power than we use to get men to the moon, kind of stuff. There's loads of sort of great technology in there, and the fact that at the moment we just walk around and stare at the screen and prod it a bit, that's just a very unsophisticated way of doing stuff. I think we're going to see a lot more of this.
I see. That's very interesting. And Jeremy, maybe I can bring you in as well, because we're starting to see more and more of this intersection between fashion and technology. And I guess, nowhere more probably than in wearable devices. So we heard about how important the smartphone is.
Yeah.
But how do you see these industries, working more closely together? And
well, following from that, it's a wonder that they're not. As you said, we've had this processing power in our pocket for quite a while now.
Yes.
And it should be being used in this way. The Google Cardboard, as I say, is very accessible. Everyone can buy it. Everyone can use it. You have so many companies out there not looking to push the boundaries and not looking to actually bring this technology on board, this innovative way. You can access what technology people already have. And I can think of only one other example where, in a fashion sense, a brand used virtual reality, and that was, in one place using expensive headsets, broadcasting content from another location just down the road. And that's just not the way. Right. Yeah. and that's the whole point. That's the fact that it's only 2 examples now is a real shame. Mm. There should be more of this, and you should be applauded for actually embracing this type of technology and bringing it on. With regards to wearables, it's unfortunately my remit to try out a lot of these wearables and have to live with them. And in the vast majority, and I'm sure Jean-Pierre has a similar opinion, in the vast majority, the aesthetic and the design quality seems to be so secondary.
Yes.
And if it's wearable, by nature it's fashion. By nature it's something on display. And so few technology companies coming into this world, into the fashion world, are prepared to actually take that seriously. And you can name almost every technology brand coming into this area having, to varying degrees, problems with that. And some of you're addressing the geek world, the guys and girls that love this technology and want to wear it and want to have it on their person. But you're not addressing the huge market of the fashion market and saying this is something you want to wear every day. A watch, smartwatches.
Yes.
A watch is a fashion item. Everyone's carrying around a much better timepiece in their pocket as part of this processing power we've got with us that's always accurate and never goes wrong. Everyone's carrying around a much better watch in their pocket now, yet we are wearing watches. A few of us are wearing watches on the panel today. They will keep much worse time than your phone. Yet there they are. It's a fashion statement.
Yes.
So when you suddenly start to go into the watch world, technology brands want to break into the watch world market. They have to address that, and they're not. You look at most smartwatches now, and they're not very nice, and they should be a lot better. I'm wearing one now. It's one of the nicer examples I feel aesthetically,
yes.
Which is why I'm prepared to actually wear it and try it out properly. But there's loads out there and loads coming out that fall far short, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, maybe Jean-Pierre, I can ask your opinion, because we're seeing some really interesting innovation from River Island and how it's thinking of video and bringing that into virtual reality. I mean, as a designer, how do you think you can start using technology in exciting ways? Because I think that's what I was hearing from Jeremy. It's like, I want to see more experimentation. I want to see more risk-taking. I want to see more use of, the technology. We have these smartphones. We have infinite possibilities. How do you view it as a designer and a creative, force in what you do?
Well, I think that's the thing. I'm working closely with I guess, an obsessive, compulsive kind of guy like myself, who really looks at everything with a critical eye, an eye for extreme luxury. I think it's quite a beautiful relationship to have with a scientist, an engineer, and really a technical engineer, really, to create a product that really should be ubiquitous, should be accessible, and provoke some form of emotion. Technology, it is like a lot of geeks in the world get all excited about certain things, but technologically based. But if you were to apply that, my eye, as an empirical esthetician, if you will, it would be more accessible to the wider scope.
Right.
So yeah, there are many possibilities. I would love to engage like a threesome of an engineer and a scientist to design something. Like, they would do all that hard research and design, but then with my applied aesthetics, I think it would create something that would just be really
Right.
I think that's the key, is the collaboration. Is what's really important in projects like this. And I think sometimes you don't know where to start, and kind of you have to kind of seek out collaborators and have a bit of trial and error and be prepared to kind of go through a bit of an experimentation process. And I think that's also why it's taken brands and designers a while to start to feel confident in this space. And some of the time it's because we don't know what's possible. So you have to meet people that do know what's possible and start to try things out. So I think it will start to move as we feel more confident to move into a technological space. But it's taken, from my point of view anyway, it's taken a while to work out. Everyone keeps saying, oh, there's all this tech out there. And then it's taken quite a while to find things that will make sense and that we believe will be exciting for consumers and also are commercially viable to create.
I see. So going down the path of doing a video, getting it done in CGI, then gave you a platform to potentially bring it into virtual reality with cardboard,
It's like one thing leads to another.
Yes, I see.
It's not like we met Jean-Pierre and then we said, oh, let's make a virtual reality cardboard app.
Right.
He was inspired about a print, I was then inspired about his print, and my team, we all thought, we can take this into an animated space. We then worked with Stephen, and Stephen says, oh, you can make this into virtual reality. We meet that partner, and it's a very iterative process. It doesn't just go from A to B in one conversation.
That's very often what's wrong, is people sort of say, how can we use technology to do a thing that doesn't actually require technology at all? Whereas if you have a process where you say, actually this works really well, this is something where cardboard could take it to another level, for instance, then you're going to come up with something that's much more organic, much more real, rather than just a lot of brands which have sort of said, well, either here's a gadget, how do I make it attractive, or here's something attractive, how do I build in a gadget? Both of those are sort of the wrong end of the telescope, if you like. It needs to be an authentic process, I think.
That makes sense. And so, I mean, Stephen, do you have anything to add on the importance of partnering and collaborating and going through that maybe initial messy period, but then you start to stumble on things that are incredibly exciting because you have a scientist, an engineer, a brilliant designer in the same room, and they're riffing off each other?
Well, I mean, I suppose in a way it's looking back over the process and coming to the end of it, and it's obviously really exciting when we've been sitting in rooms and on conference calls and having all of these technological conversations and learning this process together, to then actually see it in the consumer's hands and to see how, for the guests at the event that River Island and the BFC hosted on Monday, it's such an intuitive experience for them. So I think that was one element of it that was really pleasing, just to see how natural and how easy it was for people to adopt this. But I suppose in a way it's fashion and technology go hand in hand. I mean, people who are interested in fashion, and it is something that culturally is so broad, the base of following fashion. People who follow fashion are early adopters. People who follow technology are early adopters. So the two kinds of mentality, whether it's a technological or a creative mentality of looking for the next thing, looking for the innovation, it's a very natural marriage. So I think you asked earlier about what potential are there for these things going forward, and one thing that we were talking about when we were developing the app was the opportunities for incorporating the e-commerce experience, and obviously that's a big part of what River Island do. Is it's the accessibility of the collection across market internationally through the online store. And at the moment, the app has, as well as the virtual reality, it also has the e-commerce experience. So it provides a seamless driver for the audience once they've experienced the film and they've emotionally engaged with Jean-Pierre's collection, to then go straight to the point of sale and purchase the object. And as a way of encouraging consumers and exciting them about product, I think that as well is something that's really innovative. And I suppose the other feature of the app as well is there's an augmented reality function on it. So once you've played through the game and the video experience, you unlock a virtual kingfisher. Sorry to spoil the surprise for people who haven't played it yet. And position the bird anywhere in real space using your phone's camera and share it across social. So it's that, I suppose, it's the kind of the marriage of creativity and commerce and social that really is the kind of the crucible of what will be coming out of this next. And I think that's really exciting.
And that's linked to your point about the phone. So we see mobile browsing, both on and offline, as being hugely important to our consumers. So being able to take your phone and think about how do I excite and engage consumers through their mobile, and we're very focused on that because the consumers are driving that behavior. They want to have cool things and information on their phones. That's where they are spending their time. So it opens up that as a very natural avenue for innovation, because we can see that that's where they are.
Yeah, it's really interesting, I think, what you're both saying, because in a sense, we see an image of a beautiful handbag or whatever, and sometimes it's really difficult to know who designed it, who's selling it, and if you can just make it trivially simple from, experiencing something you love to being able to buy it, that's really powerful. Mm-hmm. Or like you said, you immerse yourself in this beautiful video, and then all of a sudden it's very simple to make that purchase. And so that seamlessness, that ease, there's such an opportunity there, isn't there? And that's what's so exciting. And I guess something like this and the app just makes it much easier to do that.
Yes, exactly.
Well, and I think one of the things that's interesting is this is coming at it from you see the app, you buy into the aesthetic, if you like, and then you see that there are objects that use that design, and you can have them if you want to buy them. So it's not product first,
yes.
It's aesthetic first.
That's right.
And that's something that we've never really been able to do beyond the sort of very static, here's an image in a magazine advert or something.
That's right. Yeah, no, it's such a beautiful experience going through that engine, and you're able to kind of guide it, and you're moving fast at times, and like at the end, it's quite a wonderful ending as well. But I think it helps appreciate probably the design and the inspiration behind it, and it's quite magical. And I guess you've probably been observing this too, Jeremy, and how technology can be used in retail or in multi-channel or in different ways. I mean, what is your take on this?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. It's wonderful experiencing this, and then, as from a wired point of view, I'm just greedy. I just want more.
Right.
So I just want to. That's great. Well, I want to do this as well. So, but that's all coming, and it needs people to experiment with this sort of technology in order for that to come. So I don't mind having to wait a little bit. But there's other areas. Fashion retail has been experimenting with technology in stores. You've got the Burberry have obviously been well documented, been trying to do with their in-store mirrors, interactive mirrors, and
yes.
Virtual technology that way. There's a brilliant company called Carlo Ratti Associati in Italy, where they do some fantastic prototypes of fashion mirrors that you could have in stores with cameras built into them behind the mirror. So you stand in front of the mirror and you put the clothes on, and then you do a twirl, and then you stand back in front of the mirror, and then the mirror turns into a screen, and then it shows you from all angles. It shows you spinning around. So not just the item on a computer-generated mannequin, but you wearing the items, but how you look from every angle. And these are just small examples, but they're important ones. And this is the sort of thing that should be happening. We should be getting more of this. It's we should be bringing this technology into the retail space. It will make the experience from the consumer much more exciting, and I'm sure it would benefit sales as well. And then from the back end, you've got Yoox, for example, one of the largest online fashion retailers. They've got a tremendous warehousing system where every single item is tagged using RFID tags. So the warehouse is huge. It's something like 86 square kilometers. And yet they know where every single item is in that warehouse, and they can get it like that. And obviously for inventory, for retrieval of stock, that's amazing things. So it's not just what's happening in front of the consumer's eyes that's exciting. It's happening all across the fashion industry, and I just want it to happen quicker, because I think it's really, really, really cool.
Yes, I mean, is there anything else that you're seeing during London Fashion Week or in previous London Fashion Weeks, that's the use of technology, and it's inspiring and exciting? Josie,
there's lots of inspiring, I think lots of brands, I mean, Topshop and Burberry particularly have done lots of interesting ideas in this space. But I'd like to ask you that question. So obviously Google has developed cardboard.
Yeah.
And what do you guys see as being like the next thing, and how are you hoping that brands take cardboard forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think the accessibility, I think Stephen talked about a little bit, that's exciting. And the fact that, you have the smartphone, how can you just make that experience of a video, or you want to go on a roller coaster ride or whatever it is, much more enjoyable. So, YouTube videos, why wouldn't you at times want to, experience those in a much more immersive, emotional way? Mm-hmm. And so I think collaboration is at the heart of it. This is so interesting, isn't it? Because I mean, even the branding around it, the brilliant idea that spurred it, and then great technology execution to make it happen, and the fact that someone suddenly can love these designs in a way that they wouldn't have been able to do without the video, without something like cardboard, is really exciting to me. So I think we're just at the cusp of the type of partnering and collaboration that needs to go on, and I think we need to start getting, in this instance, designers much closer to technologists or to scientists, and that's a major takeaway for me. And who knows what will come next?
Well,
Sorry.
Guaranteed. Well, I'd like to see guaranteed front seats at fashion, catwalk shows. That would be great with this sort of technology. What I'd love to see with this technology is going around, factories where they, where they make these products, lovingly make these products, and put tremendous time and effort and choosing the right materials. You could go on virtual tours of where they source the materials for these fashion items, and then watch the artisans actually putting them together, and you can really engage with the brand and really engage with the product if you're using just this technology right now. So it's there. It's just begging to be used. And that's what's so tantalizing about it. But those things, off the top of the head, you can just go, that would be brilliant. You just went and saw. I really like this brand, and I really like the way they make their clothing. I can go and see where it's made. I can go and see how it's made. I can appreciate how difficult it is to make it, or the craftsmanship that goes into it. Or I can also see where they get their products from. That would be really cool. I'd be interested in that.
Jean-Pierre, what do you think?
Well, I think I'm willing and able.
Excellent. Well,
I just happened upon this amazing thing called self-assembly lab in MIT. I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
That would be so cool. Yeah. That'd be amazing to actually get programmable textiles to work, as we're saying, collaborations, ongoing collaborations. It can't just be a gimmick. Can't be just a one-off project. I think that's very important that for the fashion and the technology side of things. I think it's this collaborative effort should be like a relationship that's constant and ongoing, because it's to achieve great design and great collaborations. You have to go through these hurdles and experiments. And with this self-assembly lab, I think it's such a cool idea where at a nano level, they create these, or program, you'd probably be able to describe it more than I do, but I just happened upon it last night, actually. It's creating textiles that have memory, and it actually, they coin it as fourth dimension. I roll my eyes. I still haven't wrapped my brain around it. But it's at a level where you're using a substance at such a finite degree, and then you implement these algorithms, I guess, or analogs, and then under certain environments or duress, whether it's like magnetic pole or like friction, or I don't know, like gravity, it mutates or metamorphosizes into something else, and it's really amazing. Just for like forward thinking, as always. We're quite stuffed, and especially science fiction buff. The Blade Runner, Ridley Scott imagery of like Japan in the future. Everyone's really squashed in. To compartmentalize all your products, all your clothing, it could actually have some memory where you've slotted in at such a small degree in your little drawer, and then in some way you shake it or something, and then it just rematerializes into a beautiful gown. I think that's the future. That's possible in this particular experiment, or this project they have at MIT. I think there's so many possibilities. If only MIT can call me.
Okay. Well, I think they hear that. And listen, thank you all. Wonderful panel, great discussion, lots of potential. It sounds like we have to collaborate, partner more to make fashion and technology work much more closely together. So thank you all very much. Cheers.